sir, I'm ready.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Holding On with Holder, where I talk to interesting people about interesting topics. My name is Steve Holder, and I am your host. My guest this evening is Michael Landingham, presidential candidate in 2020 and again for 2024. Welcome, Michael. It's good to have you with me.
Well, good evening to everybody, and thank you for allowing me to be on your show, and thank you to your followers for allowing me to tell a bit about myself and talk about how we can come together as Americans.
That sounds good. So I'm sure most people haven't heard of you, so give us a little background. Who are you, brother?
Well, again, my name is Michael D. Landingham. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm 39 years of age. I was born September the 24th, 1981. I have 22 years of customer service and sales experience under my belt. I was a stand-up comedian, and I was trying to get into acting. Then I would try to become a preacher. And then during the convention of 2016, I became a motivational speaker. And then I decided to run for president in 2020. Just to show that family connections is the best way to try to unify the differences between all Americans. And somehow I was right. And we'll get a little bit more onto the conversation about why I'm right.
Okay. So you enjoy talking about politics, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for me. It's in my blood for some reason. And it's not just politics, it's about caring about people and understanding where people are coming from different backgrounds, different formats, and trying to find a common thread where we can find a bridge that we can all meet on, that we can come to a promised land for all. And it's going to take all of us to come together and stop looking at the past so much. I mean, we can learn from it, but not repeat it.
Well, speaking of learning, what did you learn in 2020 when you ran for president?
Well, I learned that, number one thing is that I really enjoyed meeting with the people, even though I wasn't well known, but just hearing their concerns and then me standing there showing them my credentials as running for president and whatever I've said, just, kind of gave them a little hope, a little progress in their lives to say that, yeah, maybe, America's not done yet. And, the people, that's the main thing that people should, the people who run for public office, the main concern is the people, about what they want, about what their fears are, about their hopes. No matter what party you're for, no matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Republicans fear the same things as with Democrats, but they're too afraid to talk to each other about the fears because we listen to news and politicians instead of listening to ourselves. And so I believe deeply, the second thing I learned also is you got to have patience. It was a long shot for me to even do this, but I figured that nobody's never done this in this degree. I mean, there were almost 1,000 some people who ran, but not under the format or under the flag of unity. I mean, everybody said they have the unity thing and they can come up with some nice words, but my bloodline of who I'm kin to kind of gives me a little bit of a leg up, and believing that we're all the same. And as I was growing up to believe with my great grandmother and my grandmother and my great grandmother who raised me, who taught me it doesn't matter about color, it's about character. And we need a leader that can bring that back out. And so, we got Joe Biden, and he's only there for just a quick fix. It's kind of like, the tire is flat, but you need some fix a flat, but not change the tire. So that's what I think Joe Biden is right now. But we need somebody more for the future and more in the progressive way to unify Republicans, Democrats, whites, blacks, Latinos, Asian Americans, everyone, because no matter what our differences are, we're all the same.
Yeah. So what makes you think you'll do better in 2024?
Well, for the ones, like I said, I did explain myself about who I am, but the reason why you never heard much about me because, a funny thing happened. Donald Trump threatened my life 12 days after I had announced my run. and contacted me off of Messenger, off of Facebook, pretending he was one of my distant white cousins by the name of David Van Landingham. Now, let me give you a little bit more of an update about why I was running. I said family connections earlier, but I start researching my father's side of the family. And I found all these white people who bear the same name as me, but there are 4 versions of us. And so for the past decade, well, it was 8 years at the time I started running, I contacted each and every one of those individuals and say, we're family. Didn't have proof at first when I contacted them, but after we started talking, started sharing information, and come to find out through Ancestry.com and Me21 or whatever thing called to verify your ancestry, come to find out I'm kin to the sons of the American Revolution, George Washington, Clement Val Landingham, Clement Val Landingham was an Ohio congressman in the same seat with Jim Jordan of Ohio. So he's got my old cousin's seat. And Robert E. Lee, the Southern General of the Confederacy. Those are my kinfolk. After I had announced my run, I did not know at that time. I just knew that what I did as a Black man to show unity between whites and Blacks who share the same ancestry, the same blood. I said, we're family. I love you. Let's come together. Now I got my Black family and my white family talking to each other like we're family. Now we have disagreements, we have debates, but we don't hate each other. We don't do what we see out in America today. And so that's the main reason why I was running, because I believe family connection is the best way, a story that America can really galvanize behind. Like I said, 12 days later, Donald Trump shows up, pretending he's one of my white cousins, threatened my life. The Cleveland Police Department contacted the FBI December 10, 2018, and told and explained what happened with the military helicopters and everything. And the Secret Service came to my house October 9th, 10 months after it happened, 2019, and confirmed that it was Trump. It told me what I can and cannot say about what happened that night, about Donald Trump coming after me once I'm on the news. And I said, well, I told him, I said, well, y'all must think this is Russia. This is America. I get to speak my mind. If my life is threatened, I got every right to share it, because it's not just my life, it's your life. That means if this story of mine doesn't get uncovered, get known to the people, then it's okay for any president to threaten us when we want to buck against the system. Yeah. And at this time, at that moment, I felt like it was my right to do that as an American citizen. They say, I have heard people saying you should run, you should be governor, you should be a senator, you should be this and that in order to run for president. I said, that's the reason why we're in the mess we're in right now. The running for president is meant for the common man. And I've done some studies before I even announced, like what made me really, before I decided, I researched Lincoln. And, he wasn't a politician or anything like that. He was a lawyer. He cared about what happened to the slaves down south and had a good friend that helped try to bring people up. Then he said himself and stood out in that courtyard or whatever and debated with somebody to run. I think he ran first and then he lost and he ran again and he won, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But he continued. So I feel like the American people need something bold, something new, something fresh that can unite Americans, Republicans and Democrats with a story. You can get those, you have the Democrats in there now, but you can't get Republicans to dismiss Trump right now, to come together to help with this economic crisis, to help with this pandemic. You're not going to use something that's old to bring something new in. Old, not old person, but old ideas. I believe my story, my bravery, my attempt to survive what happened to me, to show why it happened to me, and why it's so important that the American people need to hear my story to use it for future generations to come. So our kids don't have to go through the hate and fear because of color, because of party ideologies. We need to grow from that. Yeah. And we need to come together. And my story is just a catalyst for that, just a catalyst.
Well, let me make sure I'm understanding. I want everybody else to understand. You saying that Donald Trump personally threatened your life and sent the Secret Service to harass you? Did I understand that correctly?
No. Let me back it up. Now, Donald Trump did threaten my life. He sent military helicopters. I mean, he talked to me. Okay, here's the thing. He contacted me off of Facebook December 8th of 2018. pretending he's one of my white cousins, talking about, hey, cuz, what's up? I'm rich. I want to help your movement and everything like that. Because I had a movement with my black and white family, what I told you about, my Landingham family. And so he was using that to try to butter me to get, you know what I'm saying, more relaxed to whatever he want me to do later on, right? To meet him. But the one thing that I was curious about is during the whole conversation, every other Landingham that's black or white usually will text and then we'll contact each other on the phone or do video. This guy was unwilling to do that, but was willing to spend money and everything like that to meet with me, right? So something was off. And I don't have any, people that bother me or, like bug me or placate on me, you know what I'm saying? Just call me with games. So this was new. So on Sunday, he asked me on that Saturday, he's like, you want to go to the Browns game? I'm like, cool, yeah. Cool. I'll meet you down at the Hilton, downtown Cleveland. So on Sunday, some told me, don't leave. Michael, don't leave that house. Don't even peek out the door. Something's not right. So I'm texting them trying to figure out, can you call me? Can you call me? And on landinghamcase.com, it will be showing you the transcripts between me and Donald Trump in the conversation. And you'll see yourself that's him. So he said he was at the hotel. So I called the hotel to see if he was there, him and his brother. There was no Landinghams there. So then this is when he really showed who he really was. I said, look, I called the Hilton. They said you wasn't there. I said, why are you pretending to be someone you're not? And if you don't like Donald Trump, because early on that Saturday, he said he don't like Donald Trump, but why do you have a picture as a profile of Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Right? So I had to ask this question. I said, why do you have a picture of Donald Trump? You don't like Donald Trump? I said, something's wrong here. And just something hit me like a lightning bolt. I said, is this Donald Trump? And are you trying to find something about me? And the next thing he says, America, is this, that he said, why are you trying to run for president? What makes you qualified? Did you go to school? What makes you think you could fit in this class? I said, wait a minute. It took me about 10 minutes to sit there and look at what I just asked him. I asked him this. I said, is this Trump? And are you trying to find something out about me? And then he says, why are you trying to run for president? What makes you qualified? Did you go to school? What makes you think you could fit in this class? He answered my question.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, I told him after the 10 minutes, I texted him and said, yeah. Then he went back pretending he was my cousin. That's the first hand. Now, so after that, I said, no, I'm not going to you. And he said, good day, my good cousin, good day, whatever. I said, you're not real. I didn't think it was really Trump. I didn't think it at that time. But the next day, Lord Jesus, America, listen to me and listen to me carefully. The next day scared the living crap out of me. It was kind of like looking up at the sun at the sunny day. Everybody's playing outside and the sun started going dark. That's the kind of fear I had. The next day, I went to do a job interview. I got on the wrong bus to get to the job interview. I was very upset. And so I said, I'm gonna just go home. And the next thing I know, someone told me to stop at my brother's house. It's over on 79th and Kinsman. Some projects over there he stays in, him and his wife. I went over there, I sat over there for 45 minutes. We was drinking some beers. The next thing I know, I had one beer at the time, but I didn't even finish it. The next thing I know, this guy texts me saying, yo. And I'm like, what's up? He says, you. I'm like, me what? He said, I know you're on Kinsman. And so when he said that, I'm like, what the goodly muggle, how do you know where I'm at? And he says, overall, he says, wait. It's been a minute since I kind of told the story again. So everything's on the website. He said, yeah, he said, I know you're on 79th and Kinsman. He gave me 6 thumbs up. Like, yeah, I know where you at. And I said something. Then he said, I want you dead and gone. And so I told my brother and his wife, I'm like, man, well, I think something's going on here that's serious. And I showed my brother them the text, and he was like, man, you better call the police. And so I did. And he would still text me at the time. So I feel like someone was following me at the time. So, when he texts me at the end, he's like, by the end, he's like, he asked me, who am I? I asked him, who are you? And he said, who am I? Then he said, I'm just jiving with you. You just enjoy it. Then he blocked me off a messenger. I started looking outside, looking around, and didn't see anybody, like no van or nothing. I come back in, he unblocks me and says, no, I'm still waiting on you. Then the one thing that I tell you is very weird that really scared me, that because we was waiting about a good minute for the police to come. And then he said this, and it's on the website. He said, the Secret Service admitted. So this is what he said. He says, I don't want to kill you. After he said, gave a thumb up talking about this is me. I don't want to kill you. I want to play in your butthole.
Strange.
I showed this to my brother. I'm like, bro, man, we got to get to the police station, man. I got to go. This is because I mean, if the threat's real, then my family's in danger. Their kids in danger. So I felt like I had to leave immediately, right? So my brother was like, before you leave, I'll walk to the bus station with you, right? So as we were going, it was dark, about 5:10-ish, 5:15-ish, I believe. And as we left, I turn around and I noticed a helicopter. And usually you hear a helicopter before you see it. But we turn around, the helicopter was right above the building that me and my brother was in. And it was a Black Hawk military stealth helicopter. It was so quiet. And I texted him, I said, I see you now. And as soon as I texted that, the helicopter came down upon us. It's like on a hill setting from where the apartment's at and where we were at in the street level. So he came down upon us. My brother was on the side of the street. I climbed a tree. And as the helicopter was coming down, it was less than 300 feet off the ground, 400 feet. It was low, quiet. Two vehicles come around the corner quick. One was a white four-door car, maybe a Kia, and a two-door kind of cab, red Dodge, whatever. And the windows were blacked out. And someone told me I wanted to take a picture of something, but I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to show where I was at. I was hugging that tree. I was hugging it. The helicopter came over my head and he texted me and says, I'm above you.
He said that when he was in the tree and he was in a helicopter.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Now again, America, let me explain. He wasn't nowhere in Cleveland. It was his people's.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it was a military person that flew that. It was a military helicopter. So it had to be a military pilot that flew it. But there had to be some personal mercenary that he had. Just like with what's her name? Stormy Daniels said that Trump sent some people to threaten her to be quiet. Oh, yeah, I believe it. Yeah. So after the helicopters came by, I showed my brother the text message that he said he was above me. He said, that was Trump. I'm like, yeah. He said, man, we better get to the bus quick. So we ran to the bus, got on the bus. He texted me before I put my card in saying, I'm on the 14. I looked, I'm like, wait a minute. You're white. There's none but Black people in here. I know you're on the bus. And I said, you got to be in the cameras. And he said, yeah, maybe. And I said, I know you already. He said, I'll see you real soon. But he didn't know where I was going until I got off the bus and I put one foot on the grass at the 4th District of the Cleveland Police Department. And he told me this. Oh, I see you called the police. Those are my people as well.
Interesting.
So I darted into the 4th District, almost knocked the officer down. Sorry, officer, I got problems. And here's the thing that he didn't know. The reason why I went to the 4th District is because my cousin was the boss sergeant of that district. And she told me anything I've had any problems with, I always come there. I came there. She wasn't there working that night. She came in the next day. But this other sergeant there, he know me. And so he sat me down. And I showed him everything, but he was already getting phone calls, 911 calls about military helicopters, not one, but three, flying in the area where I was at. And I'm coming in with the text messages saying this is the reason why. And then trying to explain to him that I just announced running for president. I called the FEC that sent my paperwork. I haven't got it yet to fill it out. And he just shows up. The sergeant told me two things. He said, somebody has a real hard on for you, and this is government. Not local, not state, federal. And he said, we got to call the FBI, the counterterrorism task force. We tried to call Cleveland, but they were closed, so we called DC. I was on the phone with them for 38 minutes, I believe. I told them the same thing I'm telling you. They asked me several questions about one particular thing, that helicopter. Where were you at? What time exactly was it at? When it happened? How high was it? What type was it? Which direction it flew? Because I had to check with the FAA.
Yeah.
Right? What Donald Trump did was when he found out who I was and when I announced my run, he was afraid. Not on top that we have some historical blood feuding back in the 1400s of Germany, because his family came from Germany, the same little town I came from, my family came from. I didn't know until after. The reason why I know all this now, because some of my white family from Tyler, Texas contacted me who voted for Trump, which is funny, and heard about my story and said, Michael, maybe this is the reason why he came after you. And that's why I put up all that, the American Revolution and talking about George Washington. But since the 1400s, our family was.
You think it's personal because of who you?
Excuse me again?
Are you saying that it's personal?
A little bit. I mean, I think it's a little bit. Yeah, because I'm black as well. I think, yeah, all that can be included. I mean, if you're willing to risk sending military helicopters in an American city to go after an American citizen who's running for president, which has never been thought of, which has never been envisioned, which has never been written in a movie, and it's happened, it's got to be some kind of reason for it.
Yeah.
Got to be. So that's what happened. And for 2 years, my campaign's been sabotaged. I've been harassed. Military helicopters flying over my house in the west side. FBI helicopters flying over there on the east side of my friend's house, trying to intimidate me, trying to shut me up. The day I shut up is when I die, is when I'm dead. And as an American, we don't yield to fear. We don't yield to people in power that try to instill, especially violence, to keep us quiet. Just like in Myanmar, they had elected that woman for president. Then the military decided to take over and start shooting and killing these individuals. Now, if we were Americans, since we supposed to have all guns, the government wouldn't have lasted that long, truthfully. What I'm telling you here now is something I've been trying to get this out for 2 years. I usually don't like to talk about it because it gets me all nervous and stuff, but
well, I'm glad to give you a means to talk about it and get your message out, because it needs to be told.
I appreciate it.
It needs to be told.
Because
I know that you know that Trump wants to run again in 2024.
If my story comes out pretty soon, he won't have a chance. He'll be in prison before 2024. I promise you that.
Well, I hope you're right. It's where he needs to be. That's where he needs to be.
Let me ask you a question. Steve. Now, I know you're the host and you're supposed to ask questions, but I want to just ask one. Why in God's name wouldn't the Democrats use my story to impeach Donald Trump the first time? Because this happened before the Ukraine call.
You think maybe they don't?
And I contacted them beforehand.
You think they don't believe you or what?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of that. Maybe they didn't take me seriously. Maybe I didn't go through the same channels as everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe I've said some things during the Republican National Convention against the Democrats that they didn't like about 9/11 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I said some stuff. Truth and belief, I said some stuff. But I mean, the two-party system put us in that situation for me to even say that. So don't get mad for me to say it.
Yeah.
When you put us in it. So, but here's the thing. Since they didn't use it, they tried. Do you know how many lies would have been saved if my story would have came out before the pandemic? This was a year before the pandemic. Democrats had the opportunity to use my story, but didn't. And now they're in power right now. And my representative from Cleveland, Marcy Kaptur, I used her office to contact the FBI and use the Freedom of Information Act through her office to release the information. Now, I did that before with Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio in March of last year. They told me that the FBI told them that they're not giving them a damn thing about Michael D. Landingham and hung up on them because they was on the phone with them trying to get it out. Like, this is law. You got to release it. But Trump was in there. William Barr was protecting the president, so it was kind of hard. Now you have Joe Biden. He's president. He's talking about saving the soul of America. The only way you can save the soul of America, and please mark this down on what I say, the only way you can save the soul of America is the truth. Anything you hide of the previous administration, the previous people who were in power, if you hide it, then you condone it. No matter what you think may come out negatively on your end, have faith. Communicate with me, have a talk with me, have a sit down with me, and we can figure something out. But if you're going to let it do on my end, then I'm going to just say what I see, and it's not going to look good. Now, I'll try to get the Democrats the benefit of the doubt, and I've been told I must be contacted by Democrats. The House Oversight Committee, they knew about my story. Senator Sherrod Brown knew about my story. I've contacted senators, congressmen for almost a year and a half now. Left messages, kept calling the FBI, the Secret Service more times as a Black man than you can ever imagine.
Do you think Biden has been told about your story?
Excuse me?
Do you think Joe Biden has been told about your story? Do you think he knows about it?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you asked that because he has to know about it. For one, he's president. That's number one. Number two, Barack Obama knows about it. The reason why Barack Obama knows about it because Bill Clinton knows about it. The reason why Bill Clinton knows about it because my cousin, Michael Van Landingham, is a family friend with the Clinton family. His mom and dad is family friends with Bill's mom and dad. So when I told my cousin Michael about what happened, and he said he's going to tell Bill about what happened, he said he did, and sent me a message saying that Bill has your message, and he'll, just keep doing what you're doing. He'll be in contact with you. And you're telling me after all of that, I'm not hearing one blipping word from them. So of course Joe knows. Of course. The two-party system has seemed like, give you an example. You remember Bernie Sanders, the person that's supposed to be the revolutionary person to beat back the, you know what I'm saying? How come they stopped him from running twice?
And
not the Republicans, the Democrats.
They did do that. The Democratic Party screwed him over twice. I think they're afraid
Well,
that
he screwed himself because
the party system that they want to uphold. They're afraid to let any other party get any traction in America because they're bullies. The Republicans and the Democrats are bullies, and they don't.
Well, it's not just the bully party.
They don't want to let go.
Well, it's not just the bully part, Steve. It's just about hiding what they've been trying to cover up since, 9/11, since Vietnam, since whatever. Because if somebody new come in, okay, give you an example. You think I'm gonna come in there and know the truth about everything and just keep silent and keep playing the same damn lying game? No. But it just depends on the gravity of the situation of what we don't know and what they do know, and they're trying to hide it so it won't destroy the fabric of society.
Yeah.
And under that format, okay, I understand. But still, at the same for give us something on the bone.
Yeah.
Give us more than what you're giving us now. Maybe we'll. But the truth is mostly the one thing that can save the soul of America. Not just with my story, but from past events. But like I said again, if it can't be because of the circumstances, then most Americans would understand that. But like I said, I'm not giving up on what I'm trying to achieve, and that's trying to unify this country with love and compassion and courage, and to beat back the hate and fear that slavery and Jim Crow, not believing in each other, thinking that one is better than the other. And I'm sick of it. Black
You
people,
think
white
the
people, we're all
racism is
sick of it.
doing better or worse in America now? Is it better than it used to be?
Well, I would say in local, in like down the street, around the corner. So many dynamics. I'm trying to break this down. Let me see. Okay. In politics, it's worse as it has ever been in politics. It's terrible. It's never been as worse as it's ever been. And they're trying to use that to keep power and try to hurt us or some. In the public view, I think you see the uptick and the fight and all that against people, but at the end of the day, when they go home, they sit there and think like, why in the hell we out in the streets for in the first place? Deep down. And they need some clarity. So mostly in politics, I think the divisions are more so there, but we need to show more unity in our politics in order to filter down to the public. But also with my story coming out, LandinghamCase.com by Donald Trump, that will break down the hold that Donald Trump has on the Republican Party. And hopefully the Republican Party can rebrand themselves and restart and come together. Now, when I run in 2024, I'm not going to argue against nobody. You know what happened? I must, 3 years ago, speaking about the future at that time. And I said, let's come together. Let's find a way to rebuild. And thank you, Mr. Trump. That's all I can tell you. He proved to me that when I ran, it was much more. He showed something in me and brought it out in me when he threatened my life. I had no choice but to come out with it, because if I just folded and sat back, then man, we wouldn't be speaking right now. You wouldn't know the truth right now. So that's just democracy at work and God in action.
So basically, that's what you want America to know, the things that you just said that he tried to do to threaten you and harass you, to intimidate you so you wouldn't run. Is that pretty much the gist of what you want everybody to understand?
Yes, sir. Because when he came after me, I waited till May. I got the paperwork in beginning of 2019, January. But I was trying to get the FBI to contact me back to let me know what was going on. When I didn't hear anything, and I kind of put two and two together, like when I heard on the news about the Attorney General is protecting the president. So I figured, well, Michael, you're on your own on this one. So you got to just talk to the people and get to the people and let the people be the judge of it. And then let the people bring it to the limelight, to the news and to government officials. And so far, so good.
Yeah.
I just wish it came out before the election, because a lot of people said you've been president. It'd have been the biggest writing. I would have to be a writing candidate, but illegally I was bound to run. So regardless of delegates or whatever. But the majority of the American people, Republicans, Democrats, I believe my story came out in the right timing before the election. A lot of people said I would have been president right now. And Joe knows it. I'm sorry, President Biden knows it.
Well, I'm certainly glad to, like I say, help you get your story out. And I will put this on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, and then a few more audio platforms. And I encourage you to do the same. We'll get it out there, and hopefully a lot of people will hear about your story and start taking you seriously.
Well, I appreciate you, Steve, and at the same time, when I first mentioned my story, I understood people wouldn't believe me at first. I understand. I understand. No, nobody, no one's ever heard of this guy, unknown. Talking about running for president, the highest office in the land, with no experience, no nothing, but just a heart to believe he can make real change happen. And then Donald Trump shows up. And through one of the biggest monkey wrenches in politics that I've ever experienced as a politician, as a former candidate for president. But I endured it. I've learned from it. I can teach others who want to get into politics, who are regular folks like me and you, that can get these old heads out of office. Not old as your age, but old in your thinking, old in your wisdom. And I believe that my story can be the start of something that can manifest itself for Americans to grow, to show, and to share for the world to grow for future generations to come. And thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for telling me your story, and probably sometime in the future, if you want to do it, we can get you back on and talk about issues, about what you would do as president, if you're interested in that. So,
well, ask me a quick question right quick. I'll give you like 30 seconds.
okay, what do you think?
Just a little sampler for the people.
Okay, what do you think the minimum wage should be?
Well, the minimum wage should be somewhere where people shouldn't be working 3 jobs at the same minimum wage just to pay for rent at a cheap place where crime and infestation with drugs and everything, where is that? So if you bust your ass, you should get paid. I mean, I commend what Joe Biden said earlier today about the union workers. I'm pretty much a strong union guy, and without the unions, there would be no America. It'd be just like rich people saying, yes, let's build. I'm rich, but who we got to build? And it ain't gonna be me. So it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's the unions. And so we got to focus more on them and give them more of a bigger piece of the pie. Give an example. Just like how a CEO makes like 80, 90, 100, 200 million, some crap dollars or whatever, but people lose jobs. Unions could be saying, okay, CEO, you can make as much money as you want. It depends on your what's the word? Your work ethic, and try to make money to make the company money.
Yeah.
But instead of giving you $400 or $500 million per year, let's take some of that money and give it to our employees per year as a bonus to say thank you for sacrificing and all this, stuff that you've been doing. But it's been greed, and Joe Biden said that it's changed for a long time. But I believe real change is coming because the people are demanding it, and how the cost of living is going up. We need to make change, or everything is going to collapse.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your website one more time. Is that landinghamcase.com? Is that correct?
Yeah, landinghamcase.com. You'll see a lot of people get confused because they think it's just one page, but it's really a trove of information. It's transcripts between me and the president, former president, Donald Trump. When you see the 3 blue bars near the website's name, click on that and start from Saturday and work your way down to Monday Continues. There's also a bio about me, who I am, and history about my family, what I stand for, growing up, hardships. There's more to tell about me, but just for right now, there's enough for you to read just to catch up. But I promise you, there's more to share.
Okay, good deal. Well, Michael, thanks again for being my guest tonight. I really do appreciate it. And folks, thanks for tuning in to Holding On with Holder. Please subscribe to my channel and feel free to share this video all over social media. And again, this is Michael Landingham. I want to make sure I say that correctly. So be sure and take notice and check out his website. And Michael, thanks again, brother. And you have a wonderful evening.
You too, sir. And thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Stay blessed. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.